Is it all about the muscles for runners? Hey guys, it's JP, and today I'm going to discuss my thoughts on this question. The reason I'm making this video is because sometimes we get too focused on the muscles involved in running that we forget about the other essential players. Now don't get me wrong, muscles are important. I have made plenty of videos going over the roles of key muscle groups for running. However, running involves much more than just muscles. In fact, a majority of the runners I work with don't really come to me for muscle-related injuries. Instead, many of the runners that work with me are dealing with things like tendon and bone-related conditions. The point I am trying to make here is that we need to think more than just muscles. What we need to think more about is tendons and bones, because they play a big role in running. They are subject to tremendous amounts of force as you run. For example, let's look back at this paper published by Tim Dorn and his colleagues. I've talked about the high amounts of force recorded in each muscle group. However, if you really think about it, do you think your muscles can actively produce this force? For example, depending on the pace, the quads seem to record forces around 3 to 4 times your body weight as you run. Now, can you guys squat 3 to 4 times your body weight? If you can, you are an absolute beast. But for a majority of people, they can't squat this amount, yet they can run. And if we are being even more critical, technically, there would only be one leg on the ground as you run. So can you even do this with one leg? Now, if these are the types of forces recorded, how do we even produce this force during running? The key thing to look at here is that this force recorded is not just muscle force, it's musculo-tendinous force. The tendons allow us to store and release energy so we can produce and handle high amounts of force. Let's even talk about bones for a moment. Remember that the tendon attaches the muscle to the bone. How much forces are they subject to? Depending on what research paper you read, tibial forces or forces placed on your shin bone can be recorded around 6 to 14 times your body weight. The point of these examples was to briefly show the relevance of bones and tendons. Now, you might ask, if they play such a huge part in running, how do I get them stronger? I know that I can get muscles stronger through resistance training, but what about those tendons and bones? While this answer can be a bit more complex, if I put it simply, it is still through resistance training. Resistance training is a great way to build up not only muscles, but tendons and bones as well. This is why incorporating resistance training can be beneficial for runners. Though, how exactly it is done can change depending on what you are trying to work on. I'll leave that for another video in the future. And that is my brief insight on resistance training for runners. This was a pretty long video, so if you made it here, I appreciate your time. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions you may have. And as always, thank you for watching.